No, I appreciate it.
Wiggy gave you guys an A.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. I can sleep well at night with you. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm a hard grader, too.
Right.
Hey, honestly, it's hard to give a grade until you really see what the players are capable of. But I understand. People love that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I think the biggest thing for me was, and it seems like for you guys, was positionally some of the questions you had, and you look at the picks at a lot of offensive players. So that's why I was leaning in the direction of giving you guys a good grade, because you at least picked guys that can help you on that side of the football.
No, that's right. And I would say, Elliott and Groh and Zoe and, all those guys over there really did a good job, and the coaches did a good job identifying some of the holes that we have in our roster, and we tried to address those, and I thought those guys did a good job.
Well, when it comes to Drake Maye, do you agree with Bill Belichick that he needs some improvement on his footwork?
Yeah. Look, my thing with Drake, we understand the player, on and off the field. We understand that none of these guys are perfect. I mean, you can go all the way up to number 1, 2, or 3. It doesn't really matter. None of these quarterbacks are coming in here ready to play. And I actually think Coach said that. Like, the only player that he knows that was, ready to play once they came to the league was Lawrence Taylor. And so it's very hard to sit here and say, all right, this guy's going to play. What I will say is he's going to compete. We have a solid quarterback room, in our opinion, and they're going to compete, and the best player will play.
Jerod, you had said that you would be happy with any one of the top 3. Obviously, you ended up with Drake Maye. What was it about that group of quarterbacks that made you so secure in saying that no matter what happened, you didn't need to move up, or you were happy to wait at 3 for whoever fell there?
Yeah, just do a lot of film study, a lot of interactions with these guys and their families and the people that are around them. We felt very comfortable. We knew all along, and I think you guys did, well, hopefully you did, that, Caleb was going to go 1, and then it came down to really, the Daniels, the Drake Mayes of the world at the end there, and we felt pretty comfortable about both of them.
Was there interest internally, a lot of discussion, or none at all about J.J. McCarthy?
No, there was absolutely discussion, and you could throw Penix in there as well. One thing we said when we bring guys in on the 30 visits, like, we're not trying to mislead the public. We're not trying to get cute with who we bring in. Like, we had genuine interest in every player that we brought into the building, and those exposures are very important throughout the evaluation process.
Jerod, you talk about competition in the quarterback room being wide open. Your time playing as in the NFL, does it help when a younger guy can come in, and if Drake Maye can come in and show that he can be the guy? Does it sometimes help to kind of learn on the jobs playing versus sitting on the sideline and have to wait a year?
Yeah, but I would also say that every individual is different. We'll see when he comes in. Like, right now, we don't really know much about him as far as, just playing at this level. But once again, look, they're going to compete. Jacoby has played a lot of football in this league. Zappy's played football in this league, and Drake hasn't. So he has to come in and not only show us that he's capable of performing on the field, but also really taking a leadership role with the young guys and hopefully the rest of the team going forward.
Jerod, I know there was a lot made at the end of our first interview with you about burning some cash, and that was sort of clarified a little bit later on. But I have to say, the offseason and the free agent...
That was a rookie mistake. That was a rookie mistake by me. As soon as I got downstairs, Stacey slapped me in the head, like, what are you doing? No,
yeah. We liked it. We really enjoyed it. If you could give us every once in a while.
You understand what I meant, though. What I really meant, look, we're going to be obviously smart with cash and smart with acquisitions. I was just very excited. At the same time, I feel like we're building the roster the way we want to build it.
But you didn't really burn a lot of cash.
That's right, because we have to be smart about. We didn't. Once again, the burning of cash was a mistake in saying that. We do have cash, and we'll spend it on guys that we think will make this team better.
One thing that would make this team better, long shot, but a guy that you used to play with was on with a barber. For some reason it was recorded for a podcast, and Tom Brady said that, like Michael Jordan, he would come back for the right situation throughout the Patriots. Is the door open should the great one decide to put the cleats back on?
Look, I love Tom, and the door is always open if he wants to come in here and coach. But as far as going on the field, I don't know. But if he comes in here, once again, going back to the best player will play, you got to come here and compete. And he loves competition. So I doubt he's going to be walking through these doors anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't think he's up for training camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. He'll be one of those guys, like if something happens in November and we're in a good position, hey, come in. No, I'm good on that.
Jerod, you've kind of been able to get with some of these guys now, and as far as being out there coaching and going through this process of free agency and the draft. What has been, some of the, adjustments you've had to make, like you said, as a first-time coach? What have been some of the harder challenges, the easier challenges? Like, how do you feel about so far what you've been able to do as a first-time head coach?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I kind of go back to, going from a player to obviously working in business and then coming back and coaching guys in the linebacker room that I played with. That was a transition. I mean, it was kind of difficult at times, right? And then all of a sudden you start running, the defensive meetings. And once again, that becomes a problem. And now, the aha moment for me as far as the head coach is concerned is when I walked out there during that voluntary veteran minicamp and was able to just coach and kind of move around. And that was, I always found myself kind of hovering back to the defensive side of the ball. But then I was like, all right, I got my head coach on. I got to go over to the offensive side as well and also special teams. But it's been great so far. But once again, like realistically, we're 0-0. Still, all of us are still in the honeymoon phase, coaches, players, everyone. But I will say the guys are out here working hard. We have great attendance amongst all the guys, and the coaches seem to be gelling well, not only with each other, but also the players. So we'll see as we continue to go on this journey.
Jerod, we're all excited about the Drake Maye draft pick, but you actually ended up drafting another quarterback in Joe Milton out of Tennessee. We have all seen the highlights of his rocket launcher arm. I'm curious what else you saw from Joe that led you guys to selecting him even after you took Drake.
Yeah, Joe has a lot of physical tools. I mean, this guy is, big, has a cannon for an arm, and we just want to see what it looks like. And honestly, you can never have too many good players on the roster. And another thing that was under consideration is, look, he'll give us a good look defensively. We start going offense versus defense, having a guy of that size. Look, we're going to play some of those guys as well. So we'll see what he can do. We'll see if he can develop, and just excited to get him out there on the field.
Jerod Mayo is our guest. Mondays, I think we're calling it. What did we decide, Jerod?
Mayo Mondays.
Mayo Mondays.
I thought. But now it could be May Mondays as well if Drake is on the show. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Maybe dash it with an E and an O. I don't know. You guys have marketing people there.
I like it.
We should be able to figure something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, Bill Belichick often helped us create promos too, so this is good.
There you go.
Did you get to watch any of Bill with Pat McAfee on draft night? He was a different guy.
No, I did not. Look, he's tremendous, and when you get a chance to learn from a guy like that, and I'm sure the fans are very excited to hear from a guy like that and see the other side of Bill. I think it's great. I did not watch it though. I was kind of busy during that time.
I thought it was interesting. You talked a little bit over the weekend about how Bill would let you guys participate in the draft preparation, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, it was great. It was honestly, it was a great way to learn. Watching different positions and grading them and writing reports. And Elliot would edit the reports. Because it was like my first time, and it would come back with all this red ink on it and stuff like he's an English teacher. But it was a great experience, and I would say we did it a little bit more than we've done in the past this past draft. So I love it. I think the coaches love it as well, and those guys felt heard, which is important.
Jerod, you talk about your offense a little bit. Drake Maye is a guy that has the versatility to make some plays with his legs, whether it's design runs, whether it's, play breaks down and be able to make plays unscripted. What are some of the things that you expect this year with your offense, especially with a quarterback that has the ability to move, that you didn't have last year?
I think you hit it on the head as far as those what we call off-script plays. And from a defensive perspective, like you can say you're playing zone, but as soon as a quarterback gets outside the pocket, everything turns into man-to-man. Does that make sense? And so when you have a quarterback that can move around, I mean, it just puts a lot of stress on the defense. And look, as far as like running boots and things like that, that's a strength of, I would say, a few guys in that quarterback room. And those extended plays will definitely cause some stress on the defense. And I mean, some of that stuff, it's not about, what's in the playbook. It's about what they do on the field.
Back to free agency just for a minute, because we talk about it a lot on this show, and you can dispel maybe some of what we talk about. When it came to, and you can name the free agent that was available, but when it came to talking to those guys, was there an issue playing here because of the millionaire's tax? Was there an issue in playing here because of where the team is now? Is there an issue because it's Foxborough, it's not Boston? You might be able to help, or was it just merely when it came to a value perspective that you guys didn't see it and what the player was looking for in some of those cases?
Yeah, look, we didn't talk to the free agents about, those things you talk about, but those, I mean, look, I'll put my player's hat on real quick. Like, those are things that a free agent has to think about, right? You talked about taxes, you talk about weather, you talk about all that stuff. And once again, I think oftentimes, people forget about the wives and the girlfriends and the families. And they have a lot. That's one thing I learned when I became a head coach. I was like, man, these wives run the world. These girlfriends run the world. And those
it happons everywhere. It's a life thing.
It is what it is, man. But you talk about the influence on a big move for the family, man. That is that's a tough one. But look, at the end of the day, it comes down to money. It comes down to you have to be comfortable with the place. You have to be comfortable with the roster, and that's the beauty of free agency.
Well, as a player, I mean, you saw the NFLPA report that came out, and that couldn't have helped with the way the facilities were graded, with the travel and that stuff. Has the team taken it upon itself to try and rectify the issues that were listed there?
Yeah, we're working on it. The one thing I would say about those grades, honestly, it's what part of the season are those grades taken? And then at the end of the day, I've been saying at the end of the day all the time. I got to stop that. But what I will say is, look, we're trying to fix all those things. At the same time, we have plans going forward for something much larger, which hopefully the players will get a chance to kind of see what that looks like in the future. But at the same time, we're going to rectify the things on that report card.
Jerod, one of the things that you talked about just now is you talk about putting on your player's hat. How have you balanced that, and what's that been like for, say, some of your players that, obviously they know you when you were a player, now as a coach? How do you balance those two, that balancing act of, all right, I'm going to put my player's hat on here to coach the team versus I got now my coach's hat on?
Yeah, I'm going to have my coach's hat on for the majority of the time. What I will say is, especially on the defensive side of the ball, taking some of those philosophies that we had on the defensive side of the ball and really spreading it through the rest of the team. Look, we brought in 17 new coaches, all with great energy, but they also have to be firm. Like we have things that we need to get done. Accountability amongst the players is always a big thing. Whether you have a player hat on or coach's hat, we're all responsible, and our job as coaches are to put those guys in the right place so they can go out there and make plays. I always say, look, here's your canvas. I don't care what picture you paint on the canvas, just stay on the canvas. And as long as we do that, I think we'll be going in the right direction.
And kind of follow up, and I think the biggest thing that we talk about on the show, Greg, all the time is maybe one that which Bill struggled a little bit is being relatable to guys. How do you feel your relatability has been as somebody who's a younger coach who's kind of walked in their footsteps and kind of can maybe relate to some of the things like you said off the field?
Yeah, Wiggy wants to know if you'll be vaping on the sidelines like Mike McDaniel.
Nah, I won't be vaping on the sideline or anything like that. I do think my experience, not only in football but also in business, has definitely helped me get to where I am. And I know the players, when we're not talking about football, which I think is important, especially with this generation, being able to talk about different things is important, and really showing the players that you care about them and their development, not only on the field but off the field. So that's the way I kind of think about it. And once again, look, all these players are at different points in their lives and their careers, and you have to be able to kind of go up and down the roster and be able to find something that you can relate to or something that you can mentor a guy on. And these guys have been great. And honestly, I've been learning a lot from our coaches, that have been other places as well. It's all about development and just having that growth mindset.
I appreciate the fact that you said you don't want to give yourselves a grade when it comes to the draft because you want to wait and see what these players are. But did you watch The Dynasty, and will you give that a grade on this show?
I did not watch The Dynasty. I've been honestly just in the office watching these players. So I'm just honestly at this point just trying to take a deep breath. We got through the combine and the scouting process and the draft, and I got to catch up on some other shows before I watch that one.
Okay, the last one.
I'm a
for me,
big
Jerod.
Veep guy. You guys watch Curb Your Enthusiasm and Veep, two great shows.
Ooh, final season of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Okay.
Great show.
I know. Great show.
Gerard, last one for me is: do you think this team is better today than it was at the end of last season? Do you think that it looks like
100%.
better than a 4-win team?
100%. I think this team is better, but once again, we have to see when we go to the training camp. And in the preseason, I will say we have, going back to the coaches, I feel very good, very confident about the coaches that we have on this staff and their competency and understanding of the X's and O's, and we're all on the same page. So I feel good about it.
Well, thanks for taking the time, and we will, I'm sure, talk to you again soon. And we can't wait till we get to regular season or preseason and get to talk to you every Monday on the show. So thanks a lot, Jerod Mayo, for taking the time this morning.
Mayo Mondays. Appreciate you guys.
All right, there you go. Jerod Mayo. All right, we'll talk to you soon.